Welcome to another viewer quick edit. Today I've got this photo from Michael. Alright, so I don't think there are that many possibilities to edit this, so I'm gonna go rather quick and, just raise the shadows of course, bring down the highlights, but around 50 in this case, and bring up the whites. I really love those techniques to really get a lot of dynamic in the picture. Usually I want to make sure that I don't clip anything, but if it's just such a little spot, it really doesn't matter that much. In terms of the blacks, I usually like to bring down the blacks. You could definitely also go in the opposite, but in this case I think just leaving them at 0 works actually the best, and I am just going to add a little bit of contrast right here to give the whole picture even more of a pop. Then, speaking of making everything a little bit more dynamic, I think the whole picture might be just a little bit too dark. So I'm going to raise the exposure by maybe around half a stop, and that definitely brightens up everything. So in terms of color temperature, now once again I don't think there are too many different possibilities to edit such a photo, but I do want to warm it up just a little bit. But instead of just doing that in the temperature slider, I think I'm just going to go down to the split toning, to the highlights, and add a little bit of orange yellow in the highlights, and that way we have a much more subtle version of orange in the picture. Before, after, you see just really the bright parts are affected way more than the dark parts, and in this particular photo I really like the look. By comparison, here you see everything is just kind of a little bit too even, so I really love the split toning in this case. Let's go on with the clarity. I think I'm gonna add a little bit of clarity and vibrance. Now, I really like the vibrance, the added vibrance in the background, but I really don't like this green to be amplified even more. So what I'm gonna do is add quite a lot of vibrance and really just make sure that the background looks good, and then go straight away down to the HSL tool, saturation, and drag it over the greens and bring them down to a value where I like it. A thing that you might have noticed is that these palm trees are also green, so they will also get affected by this adjustment. However, I'm just gonna grab an adjustment brush for that and bring up the saturation again and just paint over these palm trees right here. Now, this might seem a little bit confusing at first, but at the end, I think it's the easiest way to adjust what I wanted. You of course could also just leave the global vibrance at 0, grab an adjustment brush and just paint over the parts in the background that you want to amplify the vibrance in, but I think this, whole procedure is much easier and much faster. So let's just quickly show you here the big difference between here is before any vibrance, here is after adding global vibrance, and here's after bringing down the vibrance in the greens and adding the adjustment brush with plus saturation in the palm trees. So because of course it's a 5-minute quick edit, I'm gonna do the rest rather quick. Just bring up the highlights here a little bit and play around with all of these other sliders. Just see whatever looks best. I don't want to go too contrast, I don't think this look works very well here. So I'm just gonna leave the shadow slider at 0. And then let's see, is there anything else I want to do? I think I'm gonna add some vignetting down here at the effects tools, and actually quite a bit, and also bring the midpoint more towards the center, and I think it actually works pretty well. So here is before vignetting, here's after. Now, you could call this picture finished already if you really wanted to, but I think I might try to at least add a little bit more dramatic and a little bit more interest in terms of lighting with the radial filter. So let me first of all grab some plus exposure radial filters and just kind of drag it over the parts where it looks good, where it amplifies the lighting, and where I think it works. Really don't think that's gonna be very many spots, but maybe just another one over here, and let's make this palm tree a little bit brighter, and then of course grab another radial filter and go into the minus exposure and just make some parts a little bit darker, maybe even mix it with contrast, and right click duplicate, one more over here, some sort of custom vignetting almost, and maybe another one, a little bit of a smaller filter over there, and why not one in the middle so the whole house wall looks a little bit more interesting. Let's see, before any dodge and burning and after. I mean, it's really up to you which one you like better, but I think I like the one with dodge and burning just a little bit more because it amplifies the lighting. So let's see the before and after, of course, and you see it's a nice difference from the before. It's definitely more alive, more bright, but at the end there's just not too many possibilities to edit such a picture. But that said, I think it's a neat little picture and I definitely like the result. Thank you very much, Michael, for submitting your photo, and of course thank you all very much for watching this video. I'm gonna see you all in the next episode, and until then, please take care.